country on the move. Wagon trains brought hundreds of thousands of people to the new frontier. Oxen, mules, and horses powered the Great Western Migration. And it was those very animals that helped build the West as they pulled the plows and scrapers that carved out cities and farms from a vast wilderness. But all that changed as machines took over the job. By the 20th century, steam and then gas-powered engines began to replace horse and mule teams. And in the 21st century, farming, roadwork, and excavating are done with giant million-dollar steel beasts. In the middle of all this progress, it's easy enough to forget about our past. Draft horses and mules that farmed our fields and built our roads had just about disappeared. By the 1940s, farmers like Bob Donnelly's ancestors were forced to give up on the old ways.
The people that sold you tractors, they would pay you $25 just for the horses, send them all to slaughter. It was all, I remember my grandpa and my dad too, all cried and everything else when they had to leave. But everything come with the tractors.
Old photos and lost film clips capture the final days of this piece of Americana. But the old ways are not dead yet.
Well, we try to keep some of the things from our past to show people how way back when the horses and this equipment was used.
A group of draft horse lovers have come to Orland, California to recapture the past.
This is the way that the excavating was done back in the horse-drawn era.
Out on the dirt, they are saving history as the draft teams ride again. The Golden State Draft Horse and Mule Club is hitting the fields of Stony Creek Shires Ranch.
It's just fun keeping some of the things from our past. We don't do it, who's going to do it?
Luke Messinger is taking his stunning Percheron horses for a magical and dusty ride connected to an ancient grater. The horses are big, powerful, loaded with energy, and loving the work.
Do you feel you could lose control of them?
In the morning when they're a little fresh, particularly Hank there gets a little excited, so you got to have a good hand on the lines.
Always have control of the horses while you're hitching. Yeah, back in the day, horses were so dead tired that the guy could just hook them up and just let them stand there.
Wow.
Because they were so exhausted.
I just like the show horses. I just like things that are pretty.
Dana DeRico Benjamin and her husband Glenn have their own team of Percherons.
But the Percherons have a really nice disposition, and their foundation breed goes back, there's Arab in them, which is more of the tail goes up and the more showy.
As she takes them out of the trailer, you can see what giant animals these are. Solid muscle, but full of grace. Just getting their rig ready is a challenge and a team operation.
You don't take your foot off the thing. That's high enough.
Wait, that's as far as it'll go without...
No, go a little more.
Okay.
Another little turn. Okay, that's good.
The ride, minutes of intense concentration, mixed with pure adrenaline. The Percheron have a wonderful high-stepping gait. The 12-pound horseshoes may have something to do with it.
Very heavy and very big, about 12 pounds each. And it's a very heavy weighted shoe, which makes them break over and very high-stepping.
You see pride in those regal bodies. Originally bred in Western France, at one point 70% of the draft horses in America were Percherons. These animals were born for this work.
Most of them take to it pretty quickly. There's always that one that maybe be a little harder to train, but most of them come around, and boy, once you're trained and the more they're exposed to this type of thing, working in the fields, the better they are.
Earl Strand, our host here in Orland, has his prized English Shires out in the dirt. Like Clydesdales, they have feathered legs and large feet and can thrill anyone watching them work. Lauren Marcus takes his team into the dirt, and it's just old-fashioned hard work. Imagine 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. A farmer from the 1800s would tell you this stuff will beat up your body fast.
It's a young man's game to be doing this one all day long. It'd be pretty tough.
Tom Ricker has brought his work ponies stacked up side by side to take on the challenge. Standing on his grader, what a view he commands. Tom rides through the dirt and the mud, but when it's all over, they get a shower, and he has quite the story to tell.
A lot of work to have a little fun.
It's not just these iconic animals that make this special. The equipment they drag could be right out of a museum.
These are all original, all date back to in late 1880s.
Club president and draft horse teamster Nolan Darnell has spent years collecting these old gems.
The slip scrape was a back-breaking instrument. You couldn't dig, you couldn't level with it. And this is the 1880s, 1884, 1885. One horse or two horses, and you can move loose dirt with it. You can build irrigation shafts. You can level with this also. Tailboard scraper, buck scraper, and as you can see, the horses do all the work, but you can level with it, or you can turn it, you can fill it and dump it, or you can level at this point right there. This is what they call a Miskin scraper. They're still in business today, making earth-moving equipment, mechanized earth-moving equipment. It came after the turn of the century and can move a cubic yard of dirt. And then this glide, this is a 1913, 1912 vintage road grader. This was a one-man operation. The other graders, you needed a teamster and you needed an engineer for the back. This one guy could drive the horses and do the work himself. So you can angle the blade any way you want. This can do everything that the new modern road graders can do, except we don't have the air-conditioned AM, FM radio.
But the granddaddy of them all is the Fresno scraper.
It just revolutionized excavating overnight.
In 1883, this changed everything. It was used around the world, even to help build the Panama Canal.
James Porteous was a blacksmith at that time called Fresno Station. James Herndon was helped building the big ditch and was falling way behind because all he had was those slip scoops or slip scrapers. So he had talked to James Porteous, the blacksmith, and they played around with a few different designs, and they finally came up with this design here, and they went into mass production. And Porteous said, "I'll make you 10 of them if I can have the patent rights." And Herndon said, "Fine." So he got 10 free Fresnos, but Porteous got the patent rights, and they went worldwide, so made a little bit of money off that. They sold for $40 back in 1883.
Porteous created a company that is still going strong today, the Fresno Agricultural Works.
Now you had a tool, you could move dirt out, move dirt in, you could level with it. So it was used to build reservoirs. Stanford Stadium was dug using Fresnos. They went worldwide, they built railroad beds, road beds, all types of excavating. Put wear plates underneath to strengthen it so it wouldn't wear out as fast. You see them laying around, but not too many people have ever seen anybody use a Fresno or even would know how to use a Fresno. Hopefully the younger people will take an interest and keep it going, because pretty soon people won't be able to see this or do it.
So history comes alive as these animals grunt and strain and pull.
When the horses or mules are working good, when they're broke and you can hook to a Fresno, a plow, a disc, and you can go out like you can plow a field like this or disc it, and it's just you get done, you've done some work, you're kind of communicating with the horses or the mules, and it's just a therapy, a satisfaction you can't get from doing anything else.
Here on the fields of California's Great Central Valley, they are remembering the men and women, their special equipment, and they're magnificent animals that help build America. Out here, they are saving history, one step at a time.